Steven Universe and all associated images are property of Cartoon Network, Rebecca Sugar, and any and all other respective owners. I don't know them all. All footage in this video has been used for the purpose of critique parody under fair use. Please support the official release. Ever since Back to the Moon aired, I've been asked the same question multiple times. Enough times that I've now decided to do an entire video discussing the topic. That question is whether or not it was actually Rose who shattered Pink Diamond, or if it was perhaps someone else. The specific someone else that people keep mentioning is Pearl. In fact, a lot of people out there have theorized pretty strongly and pretty effectively that it was Pearl who shattered Pink Diamond, while shapeshifted into Rose because she knew that it was something that Rose could never do, but that it was also something that needed to be done. This is primarily based off of Pearl's reaction to Eyeball telling the story of Pink Diamond's death. Her reaction was the strongest in the entire room, perhaps aside from Steven's. And it's not a bad theory. It really isn't. Pearl cared enough about Rose that if Rose found herself in a situation where she had to make a choice that went against her morals, a choice that would have harmed her, Pearl might have made that choice for herself instead. Now, I've been pretty dismissive of this theory either way. I just don't understand why the series would lie to us about this, why they would introduce yet another secret on the tail end of finally revealing what happened to Pink Diamond. To me, the reveal seemed very straightforward. But because the topic seems so popular, I've decided to move around a few of my theories to fit this video in and really dig in and go over the evidence. Obviously, I can't prove one way or another. We won't know for sure what happened until we see what happened either as a flashback or a recording of some kind, if we ever do. But I intend to come as close as possible to proving one way or another what happened in this video. First of all, let's look at the notion that rather than shattering Pink Diamond to save Rose from having to do it, Pearl, in her desperation to be free, shattered Pink Diamond and actually started the rebellion. Now, do I think that Pearl could shatter a diamond if she caught that diamond unawares? Well, yeah, I do. Remember, as strong as they've been built up to be, we still don't know how powerful the diamonds actually are. And at the end of the day, they are still just gems. The same rules that apply to other gems still apply to them. For example, if one of the modern gem destabilizers, the little wands that Jasper brought back in The Return, were to come in contact with a diamond's body, that diamond would poof, because they're still just gems. Likewise, if enough lethal damage is done to a diamond's holographic body, that diamond would poof. And if a diamond were caught by surprise, that damage would be much easier to inflict. So if we assume that the death of Pink Diamond occurred at the beginning of the war and that Pearl took Rose's shape in order to get close to Pink Diamond, as at the time Rose was one of Pink Diamond's loyal Quartz soldiers, then it makes sense that Pearl could have surprised Pink Diamond and inflicted lethal damage to her holographic body before Pink Diamond could react. Pink Diamond would have poofed, leaving her gem helpless for at least a couple of minutes, more than enough time for Pearl to apply enough pressure to the gemstone to shatter it. Again, diamonds are just gems. There is no reason to assume that their gemstones would be any more durable than a regular gems. Enough force applied to the gemstone would break it, and then once it's broken, it should be a simple matter to shatter it completely. But there are a couple of issues with this scenario. First of all, we saw in a flashback of Pearl's, via her holographic recreation of it, what it was that started the rebellion. And it was literally that Rose decided to rebel. She and Pearl were on Earth. They had seemingly been experiencing the freedom that Earth offered, as well as becoming familiar with the Earth itself, which is likely when Rose fell in love with the Earth. And Rose suggested that they rebel, but made a point to remind Pearl that they would never be able to go back to Homeworld if they did this. If Pearl had killed Pink Diamond, if that had been what had started the war, when would Rose have had this chance to make this peaceful decision? In other words, if Pearl had taken on Rose's form and killed Pink Diamond while there was at least one witness, that being Eyeball Ruby, it would have been Homeworld who branded Rose rebel rather than Rose branding herself one. Rose would have become public enemy number 1 in an instant. So this scenario is out completely, unless it was actually Rose in this scenario who shattered Pink Diamond as her first act of rebellion. But that doesn't even work either, since we know for a fact that the Beta Kindergarten was commissioned about halfway through the war, and yet Jasper, a gem from the Beta Kindergarten, still emerged thinking of Pink Diamond as her diamond. Even now, after she's been reassigned to Yellow Diamond, Jasper still seems to think of Pink Diamond first and foremost as her diamond. Now let's think about it for a second. If Pink Diamond had been shattered at the start of the war, if that had been what had started the war, then one of the other diamonds would have taken over the colony by the midpoint of the war, and it would have been them who commissioned the Beta Kindergarten. Jasper would have come out of the ground believing that she was that diamond's, quartz soldier, rather than Pink Diamond's. That means that Pink Diamond must have been alive at the midpoint of the war to commission the Beta Kindergarten. And based on Jasper's words that she's been fighting since she emerged from the ground, more or less, I'm paraphrasing obviously, it sounds like it was some point during the incubation of the Beta Gems that Pink Diamond was shattered. So some point just past the midpoint of the war. So this scenario with Pearl beginning the war by shattering Pink Diamond is out. It just doesn't make any sense at all based on what we know of the canon timeline. So is it possible that Pearl still shattered Pink Diamond in the guise of rose quartz? Would it still make sense at all for that to have happened? Well, I mean, yeah, it's still possible. Let's think about this again for a second. Let's modify our scenario a little bit and assume that it's now taking place about halfway through the war. How would Rose get close to Pink Diamond in the first place? We saw her lead an assault on another diamond, and that diamond just retreated, letting her quartz soldiers do the work. I would imagine that Pink Diamond would do something similar if Rose attacked with her crystal gem. Maybe Rose could catch up with her and confront her. Maybe that's even why Eyeball Ruby was there. Maybe she was rushing to protect her diamond during an attack. But I think I've come up with a more likely scenario. What if the attack against Pink Diamond occurred during a meeting between the two leaders of the two primary factions warring over Earth? What if Rose Quartz, or possibly even Pearl, disguised as Rose Quartz, made a request with Pink Diamond to parley with her in order to surrender? Now, we're still at the halfway point of the war, and Pearl still has a reason for shape-shifting into Rose in order to attack Pink Diamond. It's even possible that she went behind Rose's back and set up this meeting with Pink Diamond herself to, as I said before, shatter Pink Diamond so that Rose wouldn't have to spare Rose from having to do that. She would have gone carrying Rose's sword, which is why Eyeball Ruby remembered seeing it, and used the sword to poof Pink Diamond so that, as in our previous scenario, she could then shatter the gem without any resistance. In this scenario, Eyeball Ruby would have been one of probably several guards in the room to protect Pink Diamond who just weren't fast enough to stop what happened. This scenario makes a little more sense, considering that Eyeball Ruby did point out that she recognized Rose's sword, that's the weapon that she remembered Rose using. And likely the only time that she ever saw Rose in person was during this instance. At the beginning of the war, Rose wouldn't have had a sword yet. So whatever happened, it definitely happened about halfway through the war. And it is still possible that it was Pearl who did it. But I still don't think it was. If we look again at Pearl's reaction in Back to the Moon, she is horrified when Eyeball Ruby starts talking about what happened to Pink Diamond. But that doesn't mean that she was directly involved. It just means that she found the event horrifying. And that she was even more horrified by the fact that now Steven was learning of what his mother had done, something that the other gems had purposely kept from him, and here he was learning it from an enemy. I think that's severe enough to warrant such a strong reaction, don't you? And look at the end of the next episode, Bubbled, when Steven asks the gems why they never told him about Pink Diamond and what had happened to her. Garnet explains that Rose sometimes did things that she knew were best for others, even if they weren't best for herself. Garnet barely even hesitates with this response, as if it's something that she's been going over in her head for a long time now, perfecting for the moment when Steven asked that question. Now, maybe she planned out her response in order to cover for Pearl, but I just find it more likely that she planned out her response because she wanted Steven to know exactly why Rose did what she did. And based on the way she phrases that response, it sounds like Rose was very open about what she did. That she didn't hide the fact that she shattered Pink Diamond. That she owned up to it. It was only the gems who hid it from Steven. So while it's still possible that it was Pearl who shattered Pink Diamond and not Rose, I just don't think that's where the series is going. Now, mark my words and remember to come back and tell me if I turn out to be wrong, but I really get the sense at this point that the events occurred exactly as how they were told to us by Eyeball. Other scenarios are possible, but I see no reason at this point to assume that they are. But what do you guys think? Have I resolved this mystery, or have you managed to find that one detail that completely shatters it? Let's get a discussion going in the comment section down below. Either way, this has been AJ22, and I will talk to you guys later.